I'll never forget the moment I realized God had been speaking to me my entire life, and I'd been too blind to see it. I was sitting in my car, completely lost. My job wasn't fulfilling, my relationships were surface level. My life felt empty, even though on the outside everything looked fine. I remember praying, actually begging and saying, God, if you're real, please show me what I'm supposed to be doing. And you know what happened? Nothing. At least that's what I thought. But then I started noticing things. The same message kept coming from different people. A feeling of peace would wash over me when I thought about a certain direction. Doors were opening that I didn't even knock on. There was this quiet, persistent nudge towards something I'd always been afraid to pursue. And it hit me. God was answering. He had been answering the whole time. I was just looking for some dramatic Hollywood moment answer. I was missing the subtle, consistent, powerful signs that God was putting right in front of me. That realization changed everything, and I want to show you what I've learned. Because here's the truth. If you're reading this right now, it's not an accident. God might be trying to get your attention. There might be 5 signs that you've already experienced but didn't recognize as God's voice. And once you know what these signs are, your life will never look the same. If you're ready to start hearing God's voice clearly, like this video and subscribe. Join thousands of people who are learning to recognize divine guidance in their lives. Turn on notifications so you don't miss a single message. Sign 1. Repeated patterns and synchronicities. Have you ever noticed the same number appearing everywhere? On your clock, your receipt, a stranger's license plate? Most people call it coincidence, but what if it's not? God communicates through patterns and repetition. This is called synchronicity. When the same message keeps appearing in different forms, whether it's a number like 1111, a word, or even the same topic from multiple people, that's God's way of getting your attention. For example, you see the number 777 repeatedly. 3 different people mention the same Bible verse. A song with a specific message plays unexpectedly. You keep seeing the same sign in different places. These aren't accidents. They're breadcrumbs. God is trying to grab your attention because there's something important you need to know. Drop in the comments right now, what patterns have you noticed in your life? Have you seen repeated numbers or messages? Let me know below. I read every single comment. Sign 2. Sudden peace and divine confirmation. Imagine you're stuck on the hardest decision of your life. You're anxious, you're confused, and then something shifts. A peace washes over you that you can't explain with logic alone. When God is speaking to you, He often confirms His message with an overwhelming sense of peace. Not excitement, not relief, but deep, unexplainable peace. This is what the Bible calls the peace that transcends all understanding. You'll know it when you feel it, because your worry suddenly disappears. You feel calm, even in chaos. Multiple confirmations come all at once. Someone texts you, a sermon matches your prayer, a door opens. You just know without a doubt that this is God's will. Real talk, if you're making a decision and there's anxiety attached to it, that's usually not God. God's peace doesn't stress you out. A woman was unsure about leaving her job. She prayed about it. The next day, 3 completely unrelated people asked her about a new opportunity. Then her pastor preached about trusting God's provision. She felt this unmistakable peace and knew this was it. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt God's peace confirm something in your life? What was that moment like for you? Sign 3. Nudges, impressions, and still small voice. There's a voice inside your head that's not your own thoughts. It's gentle, it's consistent, and most people mistake it for intuition, but it's actually God's sign. God doesn't always speak in dramatic ways. Often He speaks in a whisper, a gentle nudge, an impression, or what people call the still small voice. This shows up as a sudden thought that feels dropped into your mind, an urge to call someone, and they desperately needed to hear from you, a quiet knowing about a decision, a feeling to go somewhere or say something, waking up with a Bible verse on your heart. The key difference, this voice is loving, encouraging, and aligned with God's Word. It never condemns or creates confusion. When God nudges you, it often leads to opportunities you couldn't have planned, connections with the right people at the right time, solutions appearing when you're stuck, doors opening that you didn't even knock on. Have you ever felt a nudge from God that you ignored? What happened? Comment below. I want to hear your story. And if you're still figuring this out, let me know what questions you have.
Sign 4. Obstacles clearing and divine doors opening. What if the reason that thing didn't work out wasn't bad luck? What if God was protecting you by closing that door? God communicates through what He allows and what He doesn't allow. Sometimes doors close, sometimes obstacles appear, but sometimes, perfectly, doors open with almost no effort. When God is guiding you, you'll notice obstacles that seemed impossible suddenly clear. Resources appear that you needed but never asked for. People show up with exactly what you need. Opportunities come with perfect timing. One door closes, but a better one opens immediately. This is God saying, not that way, this way. A man applied for his dream job 5 times and got rejected. He was devastated. 2 months later, a recruiter reached out about a completely different company, offering double the salary, remote work, and aligned perfectly with his family's needs. The rejection was protection. When God closes a door, it's rarely punishment, it's redirection. He's protecting you from something you can't see yet. In the comments, tell me about a time God closed a door that actually turned out to be a blessing. How did you feel at the moment versus how do you feel now? Sign 5. Burden, conviction, and pull toward purpose. There's something you can't stop thinking about. It's not a worry, it's not anxiety, it's a burden that won't leave you alone. What if that's God calling you to your purpose? God often speaks through burden and conviction. You'll feel a pull towards something, a person, a cause, a calling, a creative project. This differs from anxiety because it's purposeful, not panicked. It grows stronger the more you ignore it. It aligns with your gifts and passions. It compels you toward action. It brings fulfillment even when it's hard. Signs of divine calling. You can't stop thinking about helping a certain group. A specific injustice breaks your heart. You feel drawn to a purpose or gift you have. You experience restlessness until you act on it. People keep confirming what you already sense. A woman couldn't stop thinking about homeless teenagers in her city. She felt this burden constantly, in her prayers, in her dreams, in her everyday thoughts. She finally listened. Today, she runs a shelter and has changed hundreds of lives. The burden was God. If something won't leave your heart and mind, that's worth investigating. That might be God trying to activate your purpose. What burden or calling is God putting on your heart right now? Comment below. Sometimes writing it down makes it real. Or tell me what you're afraid of if you step into that calling. So those are the 5 signs. Repeated patterns and synchronicities, sudden peace and divine confirmation, nudges, impressions, and the still small voice, obstacles clearing and doors opening, burden, conviction, and purpose. But here's the thing most people miss. Recognizing these signs is only the first step. Actually listening and acting on them, that's where life changes. If this video resonated with you, please hit that like button right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now and turn on notifications. We upload new content on spiritual growth, divine guidance, and finding your purpose every week. Before you leave, I want to hear from you in the comments. Answer this. Which of these 5 signs have you experienced, and what did you do about it? Seriously, I read every comment and often reply. Let's build a community of people who are actually listening to God. And if you're still not sure if God is speaking to you, watch our next video,
How to Hear God's Voice Clearly, where I break down the exact practice that changed everything for me. The link is right here on screen and in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next one.